Welcome. The purpose of this video is to identify the key 20 issues of CIMA Strategic Level Case Study November 2018. I'm Gajendra Lianarachi from a4study.com. This time the case study is in the pharmaceutical industry and the company is Novak. What's the name of the company? Novak. Anything familiar? Yes, there's a company called Novartis, a Swiss company, somewhat similar in details. So I recommend you to go through the details of Novartis to get into the game of Novak. Let's see. Issue number 1. Issue number 1 is financial management. If you look at the financial details, they're heading in one direction. What's that direction? Possible decline. Turnover has reduced from 5.2% last year to this year, and the operating profit has reduced, so has the net profit, which has reduced from 19.3%. You might be thinking why I'm worried when the financial details are only for 2 years. No, I'm worried because of something else. What's that? Very good. Share price. Now the share price is $290. Last year, same period, the share price was 320, so dropped in 10%. Not a problem, but when you compare 31st December 2013, the share price was $520. This is what will be tested in the exam. Possible business valuation. Why? We might be subjected to a hostile takeover. Oh yes, be prepared for that and go through your studies on business valuation. Most importantly, intellectual capital. Well, merger may be an option, and also be prepared to develop measures to increase revenue and reduce cost through probably engineering process. Right. Issue number 2, research and development. Most important issue. The entire success of the company depend on innovation, and innovation of new drugs, getting patents and creating better options for people in health. So if you look at the R&D process, there are a lot of challenges. 90% of the drugs fail during the testing phase. I repeat, 90% of the drugs fail during the testing phase. So your examiner would like you to develop measures. Number 1, increase innovation, get more ideas. Why? Only 10% of the ideas move to the next stage. So it's very important for you to focus on continuous innovation, testing, giving targets for staff to look at new products, and invest more funds on R&D. Sadly, if you look at the P&L, last year to this year, the comparison of R&D expenditure has reduced by 2.3%. So we are not looking at investment. Examiner would like you to focus on this issue and elaborate on future investment. Issue number 3, intellectual capital. Very important, or intellectual property. As I mentioned earlier, intellectual property is the key. We already have 98 patents. I repeat, 98 patents up to last year. So it's a key to develop. How to develop patents is very, very important. At the moment, we are struggling. Examiner would test that. Why are we struggling? 2 of our key products were off patent in 2016. Off patent meaning once your patent expired, what's the problem? Then it becomes a generic drug. Everybody start manufacturing that. So you lose your what? Very good. Core competence and the point of differentiation. So in this issue, intellectual property, you need to develop strategy to get more patents, plus develop a differentiation strategy focusing more on brands to make sure even when you lose your patent that you can survive in the market. Issue number 4, product portfolio. Very, very important issue. Because we are into pharmaceutical, we need to cover the health and lives of people. Remember, your decisions will determine life and death. Therefore, we need to cover the market from products. At the moment, we are struggling. And if you look at the case study, the directors have said, in the recent past, they could not invent any drugs. They are disappointed. Sad story. You don't expect that from directors. You want them to motivate you. But they are saying in the future they are looking at 3 drugs and they failed to capitalize in the recent past. What comes to your mind? Oh yes, BCG matrix. Clearly now you need to have a portfolio of products. You cannot depend on a single drug or few drugs to survive, because at any given time patent can be expired and competitor might strike. So you recommend to have minimum a portfolio of 20 drugs so that you can survive. How many countries do we operate? We are a global company, 7th largest in the world, so we operate everywhere. According to the case study, we operate in 5 major regions covering the entire world. So be prepared to focus on a portfolio, minimize the risk, do not depend on a single drug. Very, very important. Issue number 5, stakeholders. There's a catch in this case study. What's the catch? We don't know the shareholders. We know Dorothy is there. Who is Dorothy? That is the only remaining member in the board of the founding Novak family. The company was founded in the middle of the 19th century. So we have only one board member who is the chair, but we don't know anything about shareholding. That's a surprise in the exam. You might get a scenario of a majority shareholder who is not happy with the process, want to get in, remove the board, get involved. Maybe that's the case because the shareholders will not like the present developments. So be prepared on that. And also Mandela matrix will be very, very important because there's very high regulation. They cancel the patents, they reject drugs, they test the process rigorously, and each country we operate has the same process. So you might get questions saying, in this country we get 18% of our revenue from country X. But sadly, there's a problem in regulation and they have cancelled our patent. Be prepared to use what? Mandela matrix. And remember in the exam, prioritize and have sequential attention. That's the word. What is sequential attention? You cannot satisfy every stakeholder. So you take one at a time and move forward. So be prepared, number 1, to identify the key stakeholders. Look at key players and be prepared for the catch. What's that? Suddenly a parachuting shareholder who wants to turn around things of the company. Issue number 6, operations management. Very, very important because the patent is given only for how many years? 20 years. But then sadly, the case study says some products could not be launched in the 20 years. Surprise. Why? Because when do you get the patent? You get the patent at the beginning, not at the end. I repeat, you get the patent at the beginning. So you develop an ingredient, you develop a chemical, you develop a mix, a formula which produces a particular antibiotic. So at that point, at the point of research, you get the patent. You have never tested it. You have never tested it on volunteers. You have never manufactured it. There's no packaging, nothing, but you file for the patent. Why? Otherwise, you lose the competitive advantage. But then sadly, the process is rigorous. You get the patent now, test it, delays, test it, delays, suddenly it comes to 20 years. That's why the case study says you can extend the patent in some countries up to another 3 years and totally to another 10 years if you can. So what is important in this issue is examiner will test what? Very good, value chain. Clearly, examiner will give you the process and provide a delay, provide a constraint. Little bit of project management, little bit of E2, how to manage the project, how to improve efficiency, little bit of ideas on communication in projects. But be prepared to identify a given process, recommend a value chain or better value chain. Maybe inbound logistics can be improved, process can be improved, packaging can be improved. So recommend on that. I would prefer if you use the primary activities of the value chain first because it is a big lengthy process of operations. Keep that in your mind. Issue number 7, CSR and ethics. Very important. Why? You deal with the lives of people. You're not in the business actually. It's about human lives. So it's between life and death. So it's important to look at CSR. The company has identified 4 areas of CSR. I'm not very happy with those areas, but you can expand it, you can extend it and be prepared to face a problem. For example, employment. The company is paying a minimum wage or a living wage. Maybe there's a problem in a country where they use child labor. We don't know that. How many regions do we operate? 5. How many countries? Entire world. So there can be a problem in a country where they use child labor or where they do not provide accepted working conditions. Be prepared for that and also recommend GRI. What is GRI? Global Reporting Initiative. Very, very important. What is that? Profit, planet and people. Focus more on people and don't forget CIMA ethics as well. Most of the time the issue of objectivity can be tested because we need to maximize profit. At the same time, we cannot risk the lives of people. Very, very important. So be prepared to introduce change and also their CSR policy doesn't look strong. So be prepared to improve that by strengthening the policy, having more standards on labor, having more standards on environment, having more standards on carbon emission. Very, very important. Issue number 8, human resource management. What comes to your mind now? Very good. We don't have HR director. Very sad. If you look at the organizational structure, there's no HR. There's HR somewhere. Where is that? Right below there's production, then under manufacturing quality, below that is HR. What's the problem? HR is not in the top management. What does that mean? Who's going to develop performance standards for managers? Who's going to provide guidelines for the top management? What about performance related pay? Who's going to do the promotion? Meaning, if the HR is under the 3rd level of management, you are giving a free ticket to the management, isn't it? You're on your own, pal. Nobody's going to control you. Something wrong. Management require control. To have that effective control, performance related pay, targets and achieve results according to the market, you need HR at a strong level. At least an HR director. Then the HR director can tell another director, look here mate, marketing director, we are not happy with these results. We need some more work. Very important. And also we have 108,000 staff. Without HR director, impossible to manage. Please recommend that, and also recommend to streamline human resource management. We have 12 factories, we have 2 research centers, we cover the world. Without the centralized HR policy, it's not going to work. Right. Issue number 9, corporate governance. You know this will be tested. Why is that? From your P3 studies. Why? We have 6 executive directors, only 3 non-executive directors. Clearly, there has to be an adequate amount, if not a similar count, according to the combined code. Mind you, this is a listed company in Cronland, but no harm learning from the accepted practice of corporate governance. And if you look at the non-executive directors, their experience is very less. They are fairly new, and their coverage and the scope is very, very less. We don't have a person to look at finance. There's nobody responsible for finance as an non-executive director. Strange. Now mind you, I identify problems. Why? Then only the case study can be tested. If there are no problems, there's no area the examiner can test. So here's a massive problem. There's no non-executive director looking at finance. Meaning there's no audit committee and there's no auditing. So you need to recommend that. You need to strengthen the non-executive directors through better corporate governance. Get another person to manage finance, and especially legal. I want somebody with a legal background dealing with the lives of people. Don't forget that. So we need to strengthen corporate governance. Preferably, I need a finance person as an non-executive director and set up what? An audit committee. Very good. Issue number 10, management control. Very important. Why? Because the directors are saying, we didn't perform. We are sorry about it. We couldn't do it. We are disappointed. Do you need directors to say that? No, you don't need. Anybody can see that. The role of the director should be to move the company forward, not to give excuses. This is not kindergarten. This is the 7th largest pharmaceutical company, manufacturing company in the world. So I want management control, streamline the directors. Not only that, how many factories do we have? 12. How many research centers? 2. Overall, we operate in 10 countries, either in manufacturing or research other than Cronland. Recruiting how much staff? 108,000. Then we have 5 regional sales managers covering the whole world. So what do we need? We need targets. We need clear objectives. Each regional manager a clear target. Each category manager clear target. Especially the top management should have a clear target. What comes to your mind? Very good. Balanced scorecard. Balanced scorecard will be tested. Strike a balance between financial and non-financial. Why non-financial? Oh yes, we are not in a business. We are here to save the lives of people. Strike a balance. You can look at the measures in the balance scorecard. Be prepared with at least 3-4 measures for each category: financial, customer, internal business, and learning and growth. And be prepared to focus on goal congruence and communicate the top management strategy to lower level management based on each country through the balance scorecard. Very important. Issue number 12, risk management. Well, we have given some risk management guideline from the report. They have identified 5 risks as risk factors, but sadly they don't have a strategy. As I mentioned earlier, they won't give you everything, so you will be asked to develop a clear risk management strategy. For example, risk 1, they have identified it: failure to communicate to doctors. Are doctors important or is the product important? Guess what? Oh yes, doctor is more important. Why? Because they are closer to the customer. You might be the 7th largest pharmaceutical manufacturing company, but you cannot reach the customer. It is who the doctor decides take the pen and writes a prescription. No, not that antibiotic. No, not that. No, not that. Why? Because I don't like that company. I'll recommend a drug from the company I like. Fingers crossed. Why do I like that company? You know that. I know that. Everybody in the market knows that. Unless you satisfy the doctor, it's not going to work. So you need to develop a professional approach, medical reps, personal selling, reach the doctors and manage that risk. I gave you one example of how to manage the risk. So all 5 risks identified by the examiner should be redeveloped and analyzed based on proper strategy. You should be able to develop risk management strategy, and also the list only has 5. You need to introduce new risk. For example, competition. They haven't identified competition as a major risk, which is very important. Technology risk, because every single day pharmaceutical industry focus on technological innovation, new drugs, new machines, new equipment for operations. So identify additional risks and also develop proactive strategy to manage the risk. Don't forget the gross risk and net risk and the tolerance limit. Develop measures and also recommend to appoint a key person to manage the risk. At the moment, the company is sleeping, expecting miracles. Doesn't work in professional business. Issue number 13, regulation. Very, very important. There are 2 main regulatory bodies in Cronland, PTA and the Health Authority. So PTA decides on giving the license, which is very important. So you have to be with the good books with the regulation. Not only that, you see the case study says sometimes even though the PTA, Pharmaceutical Testing Authority, accept the drug, before commercialization, Health Ministry, health check will be there from the regulator. Why? They will check whether this product is suited on social grounds. I repeat, what grounds? Social grounds. Meaning, even though there's a drug which is very good, which can cure disease and save lives, they will not recommend it if it's too expensive. I repeat, it's all about the government budget. So government has to decide which drugs are you going to invest, because government has to buy them and make them available in hospitals. So you have a trade-off. Yeah, this is an excellent drug, brilliant, but it's too expensive for us and to give it to the mass community. You reject it. You pick a drug, oh yes, it serves 20 million people, take it, rather than a drug which serves 10,000 people. So this is a trade-off. I know it sounds odd. I know how do you value human life, but it's all about budgeting. It's all about opportunity cost. So the idea is examiner will test that. Be prepared to face the consequence if you create a negative impression on regulation. It's very important. Number 1, maintain a positive relationship with each government you operate with. Maintain a positive relationship with regulatory bodies of every country. Best thing to do is, before finishing the drug, at each stage, invite the regulator. Sir, please come and see our factory. Provide them with reports. Email them. Build the dialogue. Build the dialogue. Don't wait till the end where you say, okay boss, come and check it. Now it's too late. It's too late always. Always show what you do. Then you have time to learn. Very important. Issue number 14, competition. Disaster. We have a competitive disadvantage. Posterior details are given. A competitor called posterior details are given in the case study. But you see, I want you to compare each measure of Novak with posterior. You see is they are doing well. Not only they are doing well, their share price has increased. The table is there. Their turnover has increased. Their profit has increased. And most importantly, they have acquired more companies than us. They have capitalized more companies. Plus, they are investing more on R&D. So be prepared. Number 1, benchmark competition. learn from competitors, and how to develop measures to create a competitive advantage. Don't be surprised if Posteran offers us a merger deal. Probably a merger because both companies are similar size. I doubt they try to acquire us. Who knows? Maybe. They can only acquire us if our share price further crash. But it can happen. Why? Because your exam is in November 2018. I repeat, November 2018. Case study data is 31st December 2017. So it gives the examiner a lot of flexibility. All what we know about data is 1 year old. I repeat. So during this year, anything is possible. Who knows, our share price would have crashed. You don't know that. So be prepared to benchmark competition. We are the 7th largest. The list is given. There are 16 companies dominate. And also some competitors offer other pharmaceutical products which we don't offer. Some competition have more than 40% of revenue from other pharmaceutical products than drugs. We don't have that. Examiner would like you to look at increasing revenue by benchmarking competition. Very important. Issue number 15, target market. Let's look at the game now seriously. I said earlier, we operate in 5 regions. What are the regions? United States, Europe, Asia and Pacific, Africa and Middle East, Australia and New Zealand. Meaning we cover the world. That's it. So that's our total market. But sadly, the company has no idea where the revenue is coming from, where the patent is lost. So this is what you need to do. You need to segment the market in the exam and clearly identify which countries still has the patent protection. I told you some countries like Finland only gives 20 years, but Kronland, our country where the case study is, provides up to 30 years if you can. If you can. So list the countries, look at the target markets. If you feel this country provides you more options for extending the patent and differentiate, please go there. Not only that, segment the market based on disease. Very important. I know it sounds odd, isn't it? You're trying to capitalize on the illness of people. Mind you, if you don't do something, they die. So look at it in that angle. But still, demographics are important. Some drugs are only for kids. Some drugs for women. Some drugs for older people. Some drugs for maybe for critical illness. Segment the market. Very, very important. Then, provide targets for whom? The 5 regional sales managers. For each region, you identify the segment. For example, Asia. Large market. India and China only contribute to 1/3 of the world population. Remember that. Massive market. So the problems you see in India, the disease you see in India is different from Australia or different from Europe or Italy. So you need to segment the market clearly and understand where the revenue comes from, where the competition is. Who comes to your mind? Oh yes, Michael Porter. You cannot leave him out. First 5 force theory, entry barriers, and looking at the bargaining power of customers. Then diamond theory. Please go through your notes and studies on diamond theory, comparative advantage of nations. Why? Because you see a lot of Switzerland in the case study. Lot of Switzerland. Why? They are famous for what? Research, famous for pharmaceutical. What is that? Demand condition, related and supportive industry. Oh yes, Swiss pharmaceutical, Swiss research, Swiss universities are the best in the world. So go through Michael Porter's studies on competition and also on the target market. Very important. Issue number 16, mission and objectives. Crucial. Why? Management is sleeping. Well, they have a mission. They talk about innovation. They talk about curing disease and helping people. So that is what the mission is. I'm okay with the mission. The mission talks about innovation. Mission talks about disease, providing solutions for disease and health. I repeat, what's the mission? Focus on innovation, providing solutions for disease and health. Well, the problem, it doesn't talk about the company and performance. So I would like to improve this mission by adding one word. What's the word? Affordability. I repeat, affordable medical solution. Why? I told you earlier, most of the countries have opportunity cost, so they reject drugs even though they are high quality if you feel they are too expensive. So I would like to include the word affordability, because you can't save the lives only of rich people. You must save the lives of majority, but sadly majority are poor. So that is the whole case. You need to improve the mission by including this word of affordability. Very important. focusing on this company and the products. Plus, you have given with 5 values. Sadly, there's no vision, and there's no strategic objectives. Go through your E3 studies. Be prepared to distinguish between vision and mission, especially when the examiner do not give you a vision. It can be tested. Why we don't have a vision? We are a listed company. So distinguish between mission and vision. Be prepared to develop strategic objectives. Very important. And don't forget SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. And another question might come: how to convert this very broad mission statement? It's very broad. They want to what? What's their mission? Innovative solutions for disease and health. Too broad. So you need to stream that down into a more manageable objective. Adding what word? Affordability. So focus on that. Be prepared to discuss how to convert the mission into strategic objectives, and then to what? Very good. KPI. Very, very important. Issue number 17. Cost management. Crucial exercise because our operating cost has gone up. Sales and administration costs represent 30% of the company revenue. We are given a small chart here regarding Mintech product, but you can see the selling price is $5.27. I repeat, selling price of the drug $5.27, but the direct cost or variable cost is less than 10 cents. 10 cents. So it gives a margin, sales margin of more than 98%. What's the signal? Oh yes, the entire fixed cost is charged as cost of sales. I repeat, fixed cost is charged as cost of sales. Is it a problem? Oh yes, massive problem. Why? Because you really don't know which product is doing well, which product is not doing well. So this is what will be tested in the exam. Number 1, what are the costs that are included in cost of sales? Patent, cost of paying for patents, research and development cost, and all the capitalized cost of each drug goes to what? Cost of sales. I'm fine with that, but I need a table, a very clear table on the key drugs in terms of development cost, in terms of current cost, in terms of revenue and profit. I need the entire life cycle of a drug and look at the options to see which one is profitable. At the moment, the way they record, you see a beautiful profit. Where? At contribution, sales price, direct cost only. Forget it. Absolutely forget it, because there are so many drugs. How many drugs? 90% never reach the testing stage. What happened to that development cost? So this is what you need to recommend in the exam. A clear cost analysis of each drug over the economic life, and to look at a net present value for each drug. I don't mind, recommend that, because there may be a drug which is doing well, but your development cost would have created a massive loss to the company. So be prepared for strategic analysis, and the information given in this case on Mintech, it says it has only 8 years patent left. I repeat, 8 years patent left. That's a signal for a beautiful NPV for the next 8 years to see what strategy needs to be carried out. Issue number 18, IT strategy. Here's a surprise, a big surprise. What's the surprise? Look at the organizational structure. You don't see something. What's that? You don't see IT. They don't have IT at all. Surprise. Why? Examiner talks about improving testing through computer and artificial intelligence, and they want to reduce the testing on live subjects. So they need to use sophisticated IT systems and networks, connect with universities, connect with research labs, but they don't have a IT department. Please recommend to establish an IT department, have a head of IT. What comes to your mind now? Very good. Big data. You need big data. Disease, you need to analyze about disease. As I mentioned earlier, each country, the situation is different. You need to understand the country characteristics, health characteristics, and the standard of living. Data, doctors, the database about doctors, database about hospitals, database about retail channels which sell our products. Analyze the data. Data mining is very, very important. Developing an extranet is crucial. We need to combine scientists, combine our research centers. We have 2 research centers employing 3,000 staff. Remember that. What's our total staff number? 108,000. 12 factories. We need to combine everybody. You need information. Actual information will allow us a strategic competitive advantage. Recommend that. Very important. Issue number 19, industry analysis. This is crucial because industry will determine our success. We are the 7th largest company in the world. There are data about 16 companies, and we need to move forward, and the examiner gave us a catch here. If you fail in one drug, that's the end of the world. And if you are successful in a good drug, like a powerful antibiotic, you cover the world, you hit the jackpot. So it's very important to look at the trend in the industry, look at the present trends. Using artificial intelligence is very, very important. And also now they have developed the smart pill. What is smart pill? You drink the tablet, it has a sensor, a digestible sensor. Moment you drink it, it goes through your body, records everything and sends a message to your phone saying this is the problem, and it automatically sends a message to the doctor. Wow, that's the future. Very, very important. Using simulation and using medical labs, this is the future. So the examiner would want you to use this information. And don't forget, when you look at the future, when you look at the industry, you need to always consider competition. So you will be asked to look at industry. You need to analyze the data on the future, and you need to look at what the competitor is doing. What comes to your mind? Very good. Benchmarking and business process re-engineering. Very important. Go through these areas, and also you might be required to introduce TQM. If they don't have TQM at the moment, I don't think they have. Introduce TQM. Why? Right first time. What is right first time? Do we have a second chance? We don't. So industry analysis, benchmark with others, look at latest developments, introduce new techniques like TQM, BPR. Very important. Final one, future strategy. This is very simple. You know the company is struggling. The directors are sleeping. So I would like to look at future strategy in two angles. Number one, revenue maximization. Number two is internal process. So when you look at revenue maximization, you need to look at measures to increase revenue. Examiner would like you to look at royalty income. What is royalty income? We developed a product and we license it to others because we can't reach every country. For example, Russia, we might not know about the standards. Germany, we might not know about the standards. So you need to develop licensing. For that, you need to shake hand. What do you mean by shake hand? Positive relationship with other companies to license our products. Our licensing revenue has come down from 6.6% compared with last year. Focus on that, and then identify drugs, more investments on research and development. I feel there's a change of leadership required as well. What comes to your mind then? Change management. Don't forget Kurt Lewin. What is Kurt Lewin? Unphrase, change process, rephrase. Be prepared for a change process. New innovation, new systems, BPR, directors don't like, maybe a change required. So that is to increase the revenue. Then the other one is the internal process. Clearly, you need to improve the process, use the value chain, improve information systems, all what I mentioned. Most importantly, the IT systems, intranet, total quality management, very, very important. We need to expedite this process and also introduce a system to combine 108,000 staff, 5 regions, entire world, 12 factories, 2 research centers, 5 sales managers, 5 sales regional manager. Not enough. Combine everybody, give them performance related targets. I want goal congruence. That's where I need the mission has to be improved. Right. Overall, the company needs a new direction. Don't be surprised in the exam if you are reporting to a new CEO. Very, very important. Right. Thank you for listening. If you want to discuss this further, get into a4study.com website and you can see additional analysis. Good luck with your exams. Thank you.